thrusting away as hard as we can. The harder we thrust, the faster it's going to come, the more intense it's going to be. But that's not the Valley Orgasm. You cannot get there by force. You have to open to it. You have to surrender to it. Hey guys, I'm Jonathan White. I'm here to help you master your sexual energy so that you can magnetize your ideal life. If you're interested in learning more about sexual mastery, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit that bell icon to stay notified when I release new videos. Make sure you grab my free ejaculation control guide. There's a link in the video description below. So there's many different types of orgasms that men can actually experience. And I'm going to talk about the two main types of orgasms. All the different orgasms can basically be classified into these two types of orgasm. The first type is a peak orgasm. And this is the only type of orgasm that most men have experienced. The peak orgasm has this sharp upward slope. The arousal, the pleasure builds very quickly, and then you come to this sharp point. That's the point of ejaculation for men typically. And so you hit the sharp point, and there's this, it lasts only about 5 to 10 seconds, that orgasmic point. There's this pulsations, and then it completely drops off, right? So it's this peak, a sharp climb up, this definite plateau, and then a drop back down. This is a very limited orgasm because it only lasts 5 to 10 seconds, and it's very pleasurable in those 5 to 10 seconds, but that sharp drop off is very unfortunate, and you actually tend to feel very drained and very tired after this type of orgasm. This is often a very force-based orgasm. You're forcefully thrusting, and the energy builds up very quickly and then releases very quickly. So the energetic quality of this orgasm is that the energy is flowing down and outward. The energy is flowing out of your body, and it's very intense sensation when it's happening, but after it's over, you feel depleted. There's no more energy to build up to another orgasm. You have to rest. You have to recover that energy because you've lost it. So this is the type of orgasm that most men completely associate with, and they've never experienced anything else. And again, relaxation is a major key here. We typically associate sex as being this, one of my teachers calls it sport sex, friction sex, where you're just thrusting as hard as you can, and it's very pleasurable, but that builds tension, especially for men. It builds up a tremendous amount of heat in the genitals. So you need to take some periods of time where you're very relaxed, very passively exchanging. This allows for the deeper movement of energy between you, and this is what gets you into the deeper orgasmic states. And I'm not saying you can't have, rough, passionate sex. No, it's great to have that as well. It's like dancing, you want to have all these different moves. You want to be these dynamics, being very fast and hard and rough sometimes, and then being completely relaxed, gentle, completely passive. Having this dynamic will make your sex very, very incredible, very powerful, and you'll build these much higher, deeper, more powerful orgasmic states. And then the other type of orgasm is the Valley Orgasm. So this orgasm, it's much different. It's a much different experience, and it can be very subtle in the beginning, but it's much more, in my opinion, much more fulfilling, much more pleasurable, and it can even be more powerful than the ejaculatory orgasm. So the Valley Orgasm, the name comes from, it's like a valley. It's just this wide, open, level orgasm. It's this constant, steady state. It's more of a state than the peak orgasms, like this sharp, obvious point. But the Valley Orgasm, it's much more elusive in that it doesn't really have a definite beginning or an end. And so it's much harder to quantify. It can become difficult for men to open to this new type of orgasm because they expect orgasm as this very in-your-face, obvious, bam, it's here, then bam, it's gone type of experience. It's a very peak experience, but again, it's very short-lived. It doesn't last very long. And so the Valley Orgasm it's this deep, full body, very deep, powerful experience. And what's happening is that, again, it's more of a state than this, orgasm we often experience as just this very short-lived thing. So it's high intensity, then it's over. Whereas the Valley Orgasm, it's this constant state of just orgasmic pulsation throughout the body. You go into an altered state, and you're very open to this waves of pleasure. It starts very subtle, but it builds and it builds. And energetically, what's typically happening during the Valley Orgasm is that the energy is moving upward through the body. So all this energy builds up in the genitals during sex, and in the peak orgasm, it just explodes downward and outward. In the Valley Orgasm, it's moving upward. It's moving up to the higher centers of the body. It's nourishing the brain. It's nourishing the glands, the pineal gland. It's nourishing the organs. You can circulate it through the body. So it's this internal circulation of energy, which means that there's no discharge. The energy is not shooting out of you and you feel depleted. No, it's building internally. It's recycling. It's moving within yourself. Therefore, it can keep building and keep building. And so it's a very fulfilling experience in that there's no loss of energy from it. You build up energy with the Valley Orgasm, and you can exchange this with a partner. You can enter into this orgasm together, and you're constantly exchanging this orgasmic energy with each other. It's very, very powerful. But again, there's no sharp, intense, physical contractions that are happening during the peak orgasm, which is why most men can have difficulty experiencing it in the beginning, because they're expecting this, sharp, in-your-face, intense experience with a beginning and an end. But it's much different than that. It's more of a state, an unfolding state. And so the Valley Orgasm, it's not something you can force your way into. Like, the peak orgasm, we're used to just thrusting away as hard as we can. The harder we thrust, the faster it's going to come, the more intense it's going to be. But that's not the Valley Orgasm. You cannot get there by force. You have to open to it. You have to surrender to it. And I think this is another reason why men often have trouble experiencing this type of orgasm, is because they're unable to surrender. We, in our excess yang culture, we associate, surrender as being submissive. We associate it with, being this feminine quality that we don't want to, we don't want to lose our masculinity. But it's all about balance here. This type of orgasm in itself is inherently a more yin feminine experience, in that it's an inward, it's this implosion versus this explosion of the peak orgasm where your energy is exploding outward. In the Valley Orgasm, your energy is imploding within your body. So it is a yin type of orgasm. So you need to be able to surrender to that yin type of experience. So, and this doesn't make you any less of a man. So as men, we can be yang, in the external world. We're out, we're asserting our destiny, we're asserting our mission, we're doing what needs to be done, we're making things happen. But at the same time, we need to be able to surrender into this deeper orgasmic experience during sex. It's about surrendering to your partner, about entering this deep connection with your partner. And a lot of men are afraid to do this, because they think that they'll lose themselves or that they'll be weak from it. But it's all about balance. You must have this yin-yang balance in your life. None of this is 100% male or 100% female. We have these different qualities of male and female within us. This is what yin and yang is. For example, you sleep every night, or at least if you're alive, it's very likely you're sleeping every night. This is the ultimate act of surrendering, of surrendering to the darkness, surrendering to the yin. We must sleep. It keeps us balanced. We go crazy and we'll die if we don't sleep. So you have to have this yin-yang dynamic in your life. So being able to surrender into the sexual experience, to let go of the force, stop trying to force your way into orgasm and just surrender. Just open yourself to your partner, open yourself to this deeper experience, and it's about removing all expectations. So many guys, when they're trying to learn to have these deeper orgasms, there's so much expectation. And again, there's a lot of force. Like, okay, I need to force my way into this. I need to force this energy through my body. And your results are going to be very limited when you have all these expectations and you're trying to use all this force. Again, it's about letting go of that and just surrendering yourself into the experience. So how do we start to experience this Valley Orgasm? Basically, it requires having open energy channels in your body. So there's all these different energy channels, all these energy meridians. The acupuncturists work with these acupuncture meridians, and these need to be open to a certain degree, or at least the microcosmic orbit is the main one, going up the back of the body, down the front. And when these channels are open, then you have space for the sexual energy to move upward, so it can be circulated internally, which is why I always encourage people to practice Qigong, to practice meditation, because these practices open up these channels. Then when you go to have sex, you have this pathway for the sexual energy to move in. So having open energy channels is very important. And also having a connection to your partner, being able to trust your partner, being able to feel connected with your partner. This is not a purely physical, animalistic thrusting away and then ejaculating type of experience. This is much more evolved, we'll say. It's much more human, this heart-to-heart connection, this soul connection. And then, the physical connection is just another layer to that. And so when you have all these things in place, it becomes very, very powerful. So it's really about being able to connect to deeper layers of yourself, being able to connect with your partner on deeper layers and allow, not trying to force your way to this point of orgasm. It's about surrendering to the experience and letting the sexual energy move through your body, being able to breathe, feel your breath. As you're having sex, that's one of the best ways to move energy is breathing deeply. So I hope you find that helpful. Again, I hope that this sort of broadens your definition of what sex can be, because the Valley Orgasm is so healing, it's so nurturing. You build up energy and you can store it. Instead of losing this sexual charge when you ejaculate, you hold on to that charge. You store it in your body and it fuels your body, it fuels your creativity, and it's very, very healing. So if you're interested in learning more about how to experience this type of orgasm, I've created a 6-week course, Multi-Orgasmic Man, which has all the foundations you need to open up the body and prepare for this higher sexual experience. I open registration for that course every 3 months. The next course will be in January, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel, like the video, and leave a comment below. Have you ever experienced this higher type of orgasm? I'd love to hear. Have a great day, my friends.